When I became an atheist, I changed the way I saw how I lived. And for me, number 25, being no longer brainwashed, was definitely an interesting part of transitioning from ultra-religious to I don't give a crap about religion unless it harms someone else. And it's a very different way to live. To go from every action, every thought, every behavior was held captive by religious belief, and then jumping all the way to the other end of the diagram that says, I don't base anything on what I do on a morality that usually only benefits the white man consistently. And it's a very different way to live. And it's easy to avoid religious nationalism when you're no longer brainwashed into the propaganda of the far right. And it is not a surprise that most of the extreme versions of mass terrorism and mass violence in our country comes from people who believe in the ultra-right propaganda. And I'm not ever going to say the left doesn't have propaganda, because we know that Democrats can be just as bad as the Republicans, especially when they cave to Republicans. There's just something about extremism in religion and ideology that inspires the most violence. And because I'm no longer brainwashed, I no longer see people as us versus them mentality, where if I don't agree or believe with what you believe, you're a threat, you're working with the devil. I don't see people that way. I see people who do bad things and they just have a bad ideology as just being ignorant. Because the average person in this country is undereducated and they just don't know their up from their down, especially if you live in the Bible Belt. And I mean, I've been to all 50 states, Canada, Mexico. I hope to go abroad in 2027. And there's just something about red states that have the most violence and just the least loving way to live. I mean, it's depressing. And I no longer believe that women's place is in the home. I no longer believe people have gender roles. I believe that as long as everyone works together for the betterment of society, I don't care if it's a man, a woman, a white, a black, or a Latino doing it. I just don't care. There's one human race with hundreds of ethnic groups. I can't say the word today. But there's just something about my race of people. They bring out the worst in propaganda. I don't know what it is about that. And that's why I call Christianity the white man's religion. I think the indigenous people first called it that, and it's true. I mean, name one religion besides Christianity that has benefited the white man and his privilege to the extent that Christianity has. I can't think of one. I mean, Islam is pretty up there, but I mean, Judaism, less than 1% of the people on the planet are Jews, and I have nothing bad to say about Jews. I mean, every group under the sky does bad things at some time. But just because the current regime in Israel right now is committing genocide doesn't mean that Jews are bad people. I mean, in the 1940s, Germans were doing terrible things, but they're not, as far as I know, they're not doing anything bad like that now. I think it's just bad ideology affecting certain people at certain times. And all races struggle with racism, sexism, homophobia. But there's something about Christianity that really does bring it to the highest the highest noticeable behavior. If Christianity didn't exist, most most of the organizations that oppose equal rights would not exist, because they wouldn't have a religion that makes them act like assholes. I don't know of very many Muslim people that force their views on other people. I mean, I don't know of very many or any religious groups outside of Judeo-Christian groups that try to boycott and ban books just because it notices that 18% of the population is naturally gay. If Christianity didn't exist, most of the prejudice we have, especially in politics, would dip considerably. And I'm not saying that every person involved in Christianity is bad. I'm saying the theology is bad. And there are liberal churches out there that recently painted their steps rainbow colors to support the marginalized. Yes, but I'm saying the religious ideology, if you follow the Bible, the religious ideology is just terrible. And I don't know how you can be a Christian, support the Bible and Christian values, and not see yourself as a racist. Because Christianity has always supported slavery. Always. And this is a problem. A very big problem. And now that I'm not brainwashed, I don't see women as less than. I don't see men as anything but human beings who have the opportunity to be the best versions of what they are. And yet, religion has been used by billions and trillions of people to justify murder, genocide, mother deaths, and complications due to abortion bans. I'm no longer brainwashed to believe that an abortion ban saves lives. More mothers and children die in abortion bans than when there aren't any. I know that the right-wing people, they are not pro-life at all, because their policies and politics don't protect the unborn. You're more likely to die just existing in a state when you're pregnant, if you're in a red state. And not believing the lies, the gaslighting, the sexism, the homophobia. When you see gays and trans and bi people as human beings equal of respect and legal protection, you can't believe with any certainty in religion. I mean, you can be the best version of Christianity, but real Christianity is not kind to people who aren't just like you. There's a reason why people like Trump and Hitler use religion. Because religion can help them do anything they want with little repercussion. And I know, being white, I belong to the race, the ethnic groups most likely to harm people. That's why being an ally is so important. I embrace the best parts of being white. I don't use my privilege to steal other people's rights away. I don't see myself as better. I see myself as equal. And it's sad that America is one of the most racist countries in the world. We've normalized bad ideology to the point we don't even recognize it as terrible. All families are important, regardless of who's in the family. Every family is important, whether it's traditional, modern, liberal, whatever. When you start villainizing and dehumanizing families that don't have a mom and a dad, you're devaluing people's choices. And that's not acceptable. And hopefully, we get so fed up with conservative Republican BS, we don't want it for 50 years. And hopefully by then we've moved beyond thinking that somebody should be in charge just because they have a way. Atheism doesn't brainwash people. I'm not going to say there aren't bad atheists out there, but less than 1% of people in the American penal system identify as atheist. So if there's a moral majority here, I'd give it to the people who aren't religious. Because very few humanists kill people compared to religious people. 2/3 of the people in prison are Judeo-Christian people. So I'm happy to be in the group that wins Nobel Peace Prizes and respects people. And if a religious person talks about something or someone uses religion, I have a pretty good idea what they're going to say. And until everyone's equal and equally privileged, nobody is free.